afternoon and welcome to Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. I'm Mike Dene.
And I'm Charlie Hossack.
Charlie, no guest today.
Nope.
So
we're on our own again.
Just me and you. So
yeah.
we got some Kingswood milestones to talk about.
We do.
And we'll give some updates on the Kingswood sports teams that are going this spring. Mm-hmm. Still going to talk about the tough start for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
That continues.
It does.
And some Bruins and Celtics playoff updates.
Yeah, and it's interesting because last week's episode we made a few predictions here and there, and I think we're going to be in a different situation today when we're talking about the Celtics and the Bruins, and
it's kind of flip-flopped.
Yeah, it sure has. It sure has. So looking forward to getting into that. But why don't we start off with a little Kingswood? Yeah,
we had a couple big milestones, and that's the third milestone I've seen this year, for Kingswood Athletics.
Right.
That involves commemorating banners and all that kind of stuff. The first one. It happened last year, but it was celebrated this year. Coach Chip Skelly, the baseball team we had in here a couple weeks ago,
yep.
Got his 400th win.
He did.
And those wins have been hard to come by the past couple of years, so it's pretty amazing to think about what 400 wins means when you play anywhere from 18 to 20 games a year.
Yeah.
Chip's been at it for a long time, 36 years.
Yeah,
I believe is the number.
I think that's the number.
So you want to talk about the ceremony?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the ceremony, I thought it was really well done. One of the things that happened was we have a gentleman in the district named Heath Keniston, mm-hmm. and he's a bat maker, Black Lion Bats. He makes bats for, obviously, baseball players, but he also does some wood turning, wood carving. So he was approached to say, hey, do you think you could make a bat to commemorate Chip's 400th victory? So it was agreed that he would make 2 bats. So he created 2 bats, and it said Coach Skelly's 400th victory. One of these bats was presented to Chip Skelly, and we'll talk about that. And one is actually going to be in the trophy case here at the high school, so it'll be there forever, which will be nice. But the ceremony was fantastic. It started, we were playing Kennett, so we're playing the rivals, which was nice.
Yep.
The baseball teams lined up on the base paths. The entire community was invited of athletes, so you had all the different teams lining the fence, which I do want to talk about as well.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
And we had community members, family, longtime coaches, retired coaches had shown up. And one of the interesting things was when Coach Skelly was called out to home plate, he was also called out with his wife.
Yep.
He didn't think his wife was going to be there because she had been ill, and so that was a huge surprise. She was hiding in the Kennett dugout. So that was
of all places.
Yeah, exactly. So that was nice to see, and it was just a nice ceremony, commemorating his 400th win. He talked about his longevity here, that he's been involved with Kingswood Athletics from the early '80s. Yeah. As you know from the show, he's a Kingswood graduate. Went on to UNH, football, baseball guy, and the ceremony was really special. And I think one of the important things was that Aaron House, our athletic director, mentioned really the one of the most probably important people in all of this was Mrs. Deb Skelly. She's supported him for well over 30 years and has encouraged him and has been there with his wins and his victories. So she was also able to receive a bouquet of flowers. What did you think? I mean, you were at the ceremony.
It was a really nice event. I want to give a shout out to Sean Sheehan, who kind of got the
Absolutely.
ball rolling, and yourself, Charlie, because I know you were instrumental in setting up the ceremony.
Oh, as were you. So
well.
thank you. I appreciate that.
It was nice to celebrate, and 400 wins is a real milestone.
Yes.
And it's important to recognize those things. It's a celebration, but I also think it brings light on the program, and. So congratulations to Chip. I think everybody involved did a nice job.
And I think before we let go of Chip, do we see that anymore? I mean, somebody that's been coaching for that long. I mean, I know we see it at other places. The Plymouth football coach, Chuck Linehan, who was there forever. But it's really nice to see. I mean, Chip has been around for decades. I put it in perspective. If I had been a Kingswood graduate, Chip would have coached me.
Yeah.
And it's just, he's been here and he's kind of cemented, he's a foundation in our community, and that's awesome. And he's continuing to coach and he's continuing to mentor.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be slowing down either. So
which is really awesome to see. Yeah. Maybe we'll get there one day.
I don't know. Another milestone that happened last night, Bridget Coughlin scored her 100th goal.
Oh, that's awesome.
Girls lacrosse, they had a win. We'll talk about the game in a little while.
Sure.
But we had a 100-point scorer in hockey this year, and
Sam
Bridget,
Dene.
So Bridget gets her 100th, which I'm assuming a banner is going to be coming her way.
I hope so.
And so, these are important things because right now Kingswood Athletics are not raising banners for championships.
Right.
We're in a down stretch.
Sure.
But I think to create some positivity for the programs, to say that these things are happening. These players are good.
Yeah.
And the coaching is good. And now we just need a little bit of depth in these programs, and maybe we can raise those championship banners. So congratulations to Bridget.
Congratulations,
on her 100th
Bridget.
goal. Let's get to the games.
Sure.
We'll start baseball and softball. They've scuffling.
Yeah.
Similar to the Red Sox.
They are.
Both teams haven't found a win yet. Last week, so since the last time we taped, the baseball team had played 3 games. They opened at Co-Brown last Saturday.
Right.
And what a great game.
Awesome
Matt Drew
game.
pitched one of the best games I've ever seen him pitch. They lost 2-1. Just they got tired at the end. They got tired in the end. Couldn't really get any more than that one run across. But it was an optimistic. Co-Brown's a decent team, and it just you left there feeling okay. We're going to be pretty good this year.
Right.
The Kennett game when we had Chip's celebration.
Sure, that was challenging.
Well. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe the distraction. I don't want to make excuses, but maybe the distraction of the celebration. The kids just their heads didn't seem to be there.
Right.
And then last night they played down at John Stark.
Right.
John Stark's a perennial powerhouse in Division II for baseball, and they scuffled. They had a little bit of comeback. They had a little bit more offense, which is really nice to see. But just some mental mistakes that caught up with them, and I think the final was 13-6.
Right, and but towards the end of the season, though, the 3 teams they played, if you look at it, John Stark, Co-Brown, and Kennett are all going to be in the mix in the playoffs. They're going to be playoff teams.
Yep.
So and you're right. I was able to see 2 of those 3 games, and Co-Brown definitely was a fantastic game. I mean, that was just
it's a great
just
game.
seeing it was great to be able to see that the Kingswood baseball team can compete at a high level, and it just kind of it's just Chip's got a relatively young team. He's got some young players.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Softball team similar. They're off to an 0-3 start. Also, they're struggling.
Yeah.
I think when we talked to Mike Shaw last week,
Right.
he said that he didn't know what he was going to have. He was pretty optimistic about his pitching, a little worried about his fielding, and that seems to be what the issues right now. They seem to be having some inconsistencies fielding.
Right.
So we know he's going to work on that, and Coach Skelly's going to work on his group. And they got better last year as the year went on, and expecting the same thing too with this group.
Yeah, and they've only been on the field for a couple of days.
That is true.
One of the first games was the second time I know the softball team had even been on the field.
Yeah.
So it's nice that the good weather's finally here.
Well, that is an important point. We're at a disadvantage we're not North Country, but we're in central New Hampshire, and the snow just left Sunday.
Sure.
Last Sunday. So
Yeah.
so we are a little bit at a disadvantage. Hopefully they'll get their feet underneath them and get going.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly on the baseball field, we did purchase a home run fence this year.
Yeah.
For the first time in roughly 40 years, there's a home run fence at the baseball field, which is nice to see. Did it through some fundraising efforts. The boosters helped out.
Sure.
And it kind of gave a nice look to the field.
It does.
It's a pretty classy fence that's out there. It's removable, so we'll be able to pull it off during soccer season and so on. But it's a nice look for the.
Yeah, it was nice during Chip's ceremony. It was nice to see that kids and teams were out along the fence, so you can actually watch the game from the outfield now, and it gives a different feel. I mean, it gives a true baseball feel. So.
And real quick, we're going to be taping from the game.
Yeah, we're going to be out on the field.
We're going to be doing our show
looking
from
for
the
that.
field.
Our
so.
producer Timothy Goodwin has agreed to have us out there, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Lacrosse teams are off to a little bit of a better start than
Absolutely.
the baseball teams. They're winning some games. They seem to be winning. Megan Anderson's girls are doing very well. They're putting the ball in the net, and that always helps. And so they're feeling pretty good about things. They're getting contributions from all over the field. They have freshmen that are contributing, the seniors are contributing, and everybody in the middle is contributing.
Mm-hmm.
So we already mentioned Bridget Coughlin. She's obviously putting in Mackenzie Duran and Abby Kelly.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them that are
Amanda Lepar,
Ginny Skelly.
Yeah.
They seem to have a pretty deep squad.
They do,
which is nice. The boys are winning some games also.
They are.
And they seem to be putting the ball in the net also.
Yeah.
And they're getting contributions from the different age groups too.
You're true. They've got a lot of swingers coming up, freshmen, sophomores that are
Yep.
contributing to varsity.
Yep.
And that whole program, the boys lacrosse program, I'm amazed. JV is starting a successful run.
Yep.
Varsity, they're all contributing, and they look good.
Well, I think we'd give a shout out to Abenaki Lacrosse. They,
Absolutely, Those feeder programs, you need them.
And they're certainly prepping those boys so they're ready to come in, girls, so they're ready to come in and play and contribute right away. So congratulations to the lacrosse teams. We wanted to do a shout out.
I just want a quick shout out. Best wishes to longtime retired coach Paul Harvey. He underwent some surgery the other day, so we're sending best wishes from the Kingswood community for a full recovery. We love you and hope you heal quickly.
All right, so Celtics or Bruins? What do you want to start with?
Let's start positive.
Okay, let's move to
Celtics. Yeah, let's start Celtics.
Celtics, we've been, since January, since we started, we've certainly been hot and cold with the Celtics.
Yes.
Specifically Kyrie.
Yeah.
And the Celtics are rolling. They're off to a 3-0 lead against the Pacers.
Yeah.
They've looked very good. Their defense has looked very good. Their offense has been okay.
Okay.
It's been okay. I think they've done what they needed to do. It's been timely. Maybe that's a good word to use for their offense, that they've been timely. But they seem to be playing as a team.
They do.
And they're rotating. Their defense is rotating. They're not giving up easy baskets.
Yeah. Last night's game was challenging. I mean, they were in Indiana. All the fans had their gold on, and they had the motto "Gold doesn't quit."
Yeah.
And it was a tough game. It went back and forth, and I wasn't so sure the Celtics were going to pull it out. And they, down the stretch in that fourth quarter, I mean, they had a challenging third quarter, the Celtics, but the fourth quarter they turned it on and did what they needed to do. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself though. It's the Pacers.
Well, the Pacers were the fifth place team.
They were the fifth place team, but it's still the Pacers.
They won 48 games this year. Just one or two less than the Celtics.
Yeah.
So I think that they should be respected, and they went to Indiana in a must-win game for Indiana.
For Indiana, sure.
And they were able to hold them off.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown was 8 for his first 8.
Yeah.
Kyrie was very good,
Yeah.
and I'll go back and say that I've had trouble with Kyrie, the drama off the court.
Right.
I don't have trouble with how he plays basketball.
Nope.
He is so much fun to watch.
I agree.
But I don't think this is a debate, but we can talk about it. What do they have to do to make the drama worth it? How far do they have to go to make the drama with Kyrie worth it?
I'm standing firm with what I said. I mean, this team is expected to make the NBA Finals, and that was the expectation in the off season, and that's still the expectation. It's going to be challenging. I mean, they're going to get Milwaukee Bucks second round. I mean, I'm pretty confident we're moving past Indiana. So and I agree with you with the defense, the offense. You're right. It's on when it needs to be. But Milwaukee's dropping 95, 100 points a game, and the Celtics are
Easily.
Yeah, are not dropping that many buckets.
Right.
So it's going to be challenging as we get into the second round. But I say that it's a failure for the Celtics if they don't make it to the finals.
I will say that the drama's worth it. They keep Kyrie if they make it to the finals.
Yeah.
Anything short of that, then I don't think it's worth it.
Right.
Because I don't think it's going to dramatically change. That drama's still going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can pull it together in the playoffs and get to the finals,
Right.
then great. Then okay. Because it really is about rings, and if they can do it, then you look past it, because there's usually never any chemistry problems in winning locker rooms.
Right.
But I think I think you're right. The finals is the benchmark. They've got to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't get there, then they need to assess, is this a team that they want moving forward?
Right. And Kyrie might assess that before.
Well, he might. I mean, it might be a done deal in his mind.
Sure.
But they're going to have a tough time with Milwaukee. They just don't match up well against Milwaukee. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know how many fouls they have to give, but they're going to need to give a lot of them.
We should. We probably want to talk about the Bruins, because I sure hope next week we're still talking about the Bruins, because it's been an interesting series with the Leafs.
Each game is very unpredictable.
Yeah.
I could have told you that they were going to win the first game of the series, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
They won the second.
Yeah.
And then that game 4, when they tied it up 2-2, I thought that game was going to go to the Leafs.
Right.
And I would have bet my mortgage last night that the Bruins were going to win, and they came out so flat.
Yeah.
It's been so disappointing when looking at their top line, which is one of the best lines in the league.
Yeah.
They're getting shut down.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 shots in the third period when they were down. Well, the one goal, which was controversial.
Right.
The first goal was controversial
Yeah.
with interference in the crease, and I'm not really understanding why that wasn't called back.
Right.
Obviously, it's referee discretion, but it seems to me that if you make contact with the goalie in the crease, then
It's interference.
It's interference.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see what the write-up is on that. But they're flat, and they're coming out flat. And we've talked about this. Playoff hockey, if you come out flat, you're going to lose games.
You are. Yeah.
And so on the good side, when the Bruins' backs have been against the wall,
Which they are now.
and they've come
Yep.
out and played.
Yeah.
They've won in Toronto. I think they can win in Toronto, but it's just Toronto's a tough place to play.
Right.
You see outside the rink, they have all those spectators are
Yeah.
watching on the big screen.
Yeah.
It's just that's awesome.
Yeah, it's hockey crazy. I love it.
The atmosphere is
Yeah.
just so good. So that's really good. But they're going to need to step it up. They haven't even played near their potential.
Right.
I think Rask has been okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 2 goals. He let up 2 goals last night. One of them controversial.
Yeah.
The Bruins have to score more than 2 goals in a game.
Yeah.
The problem is that the other goalie, Anderson, is phenomenal right now.
He's hot.
And,
Yeah.
you know, the Bruins, when they won the Cup back in 2011, they rode Tim Thomas.
Yep.
And he got hot at the right time, and they rode him all the way through.
Yeah.
And often they were outplayed, but they were able to ride the goal. That's what's happening with Toronto right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be tough to overcome. No, I think the Bruins, yes, they have the chance, obviously, but they get their work cut
Yeah,
out
I mean,
for them.
as you said, they're facing elimination next game. So really, they have 2 elimination games. They got to get through the Game 6 and then Game 7.
I will like their chances if they can get through Game 6. Coming back to Boston,
Yeah.
I like their
Or Game
chances.
7, sure.
But I know there's so many things that they need to do. They can't win face-offs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Their forechecking
Forechecking,
has been just so abysmal. You know, defensively, I think that they've been okay, but they can't score on the Toronto goalie just shooting from the slot. They have to be creative. They were creative when they got their 1 goal last night.
Right.
It was real deception by Pasternak looking for that weak side, and it was a one-timer. That's the only way they're going to score on this goalie.
Right.
They're going to have to be creative, and that top line is going to have to do something more than they're doing, because they did move Pasternak back down to the second line, which is, gave them a little bit more depth, but they're just not there right now.
No. So, this time next week, Mike, we're either going to be talking about second round or the Bruins will be golfing.
Or the Bruins will be golfing.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Speaking of real quick, let's talk golf for a second before we get to the Red Sox. Tiger Woods last week.
Oh,
in
my.
the Masters.
Yeah. What a comeback.
It was
from where he has been, and you've seen all the stories, and it's been interesting.
Do you root for Tiger?
I did root for Tiger, but I have some difficulty with things that happened in his personal life.
Yes.
I am not necessarily a Tiger Woods fan. I love Stanford. Stanford's the team that I root for. Living out on the West Coast, they're my favorite university. So I was always a Stanford fan. I was a Tiger fan. I love the Tiger story, but I don't like the Tiger story once we got into the personal issues that he had.
It really becomes a moral issue rooting for Tiger,
Yeah.
because when he's on the golf course, he's so exciting to watch.
Sure.
And the crowds and everything, and and you root for him to play because he's always the guy that went for it.
Yeah.
And so you root for him.
Yeah.
But the moral, your own moral compass is
Yes.
his indiscretions off the golf course makes it difficult.
It does.
And he's had a bad 10 years or so of some real, negative stuff between, the drug use and the girls and the divorces and
Yes.
and so on, and it makes it hard for him to root for him and say, that's, the guy you want to root for in your
Right.
kids, that's a hero, because
Sure.
it's really difficult.
And I know that the media and the road to redemption and things like that, and I firmly believe people deserve second chances. I don't have a problem with that, but this was a little, for me, it's a little bit beyond a second chance.
Yeah, it's just interesting. But I was rooting for the moment, I guess, on Sunday,
Yeah.
because, and I was telling my son, afterwards, and Tiger was so excited, the pumping, and I says, God, it must be awesome to be so pumped up about something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the emotions that he had, and it was just so happy and so excited, and it's just, you almost have to envy him in the fact that to be so excited about something
Sure.
that you accomplished, and
Yeah.
and it is an accomplishment, even though he's that's his 15th major.
Yeah.
He hadn't won one since 2008.
Mhm.
That's 11 years since he's won his last major.
Right.
And to come back all the way around, and he talked about it, it was full circle, and to do it the way he did, coming back, which he had never done before.
Mm-hmm. I guess the one moment I enjoyed that was not golf specific was the embrace and the hug with his son.
Yeah.
And then they took you back to when Tiger and his dad. So that's a feel good moment, and that got me. So
and
I like that.
And to think about how long Tiger's been around.
Yeah.
You don't think of it that he's been there for 22 years or 23 years
Right.
when he won the Masters the last time. And that's a long time.
That is.
And that's what's different about golf compared to the other sports is that
You can play at a high level for such a long time.
Right. I mean, we're going to be dealing with Tiger for the next 10 years anyway.
Right.
And he's probably going to beat Jack's record now. Now that he's turned the corner,
Right.
the back's better, and his personal life seems to be in a little bit better shape. He's probably going to beat Jack's record, and we'll have to debate if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Absolutely. That'll be a great debate.
All right, well, we got some time left. Red Sox.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just absolutely dumbfounded about how poorly they're playing.
Yeah.
In all aspects of the game.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they don't want to be there.
And how about Alex Cora? I mean, I'm not going to get down on the manager, but he's comes off to the media as not worried about it. No problem, no issues, no concerns. It's going to be fine. And that's great. But do you really think Alex Cora feels that way 20 games into the season?
No, I think I'm sensing a little bit more urgency.
Yeah.
And probably some regret in how they dealt with the spring season,
Spring training.
season.
Yeah.
They took it very slowly, and the other teams didn't, and they came out and they weren't ready. And I don't know how else you would say it. They just weren't ready.
Right.
And the other teams have just beaten up on them, teams that they should beat, that they're better than. The pitching staff has been horrific. But the encouraging part is that everybody is down on themselves, and that we can't be playing like this.
Right.
They're not pointing fingers.
Nope.
They're pointing fingers
Right
at
at
themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, that's a good thing. Mookie Betts is talking about how he's embarrassed by how he's playing.
Yeah.
Chris Sale, I'm disgusted by how I'm pitching.
Sure.
David Price seems actually, of all people, he seems to be pitching well. Eduardo Rodriguez pitched well last night. They did beat Tampa last night, which is the first place team.
So it's hard to say first place Rays.
It is, but the Sox went into last night 8.5 games down on April 19th.
Yeah.
Which is scary to think about. You're that far down, but I think they easily need to win 2 out of 3 because they only have 7 wins. They're 7-13. Going into today's games. It's very early in the season, but this thing could get out of control.
Right.
And I think we're getting really close to it being out of control. You get down too many games.
Yeah.
They traded Blake Swihart, so the Sox themselves hit a little bit of a panic button.
They did.
They got rid of Blake Swihart, which was, I don't know, I was torn on that. I thought they did need to bring Sandy Leon up.
Oh, absolutely. We talked about that. They needed Sandy up, and
I'm just not sure if...
I think they traded Blake Swihart a little too late. Because, I mean, when you're looking at trade, you're looking to get something in return.
Yeah.
And, they got a 20, the number 20 prospect from the Diamondbacks in a minor league outfielder, which is great. So maybe he can become something in the future. But it's interesting with Sandy Leon. Now, he came back, and I guess you would call him Chris Sale's catcher.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a great relationship and stuff, which is important. But I that I'm a Sandy Leon fan, so I'm excited to have him back for his leadership. Because Christian Vasquez, now I'm going to eat my words, because last night he hit a bomb, he hit a home run, which was dead center, which was a great shot. But he's not always there offensively, and defensively he's been struggling. Vasquez.
He has, and that's been his strength. I know he has 4 home runs this year.
Yeah. Which is what I think he only hit 3 last year.
Yeah, I mean,
which is great. Good.
And that is good.
Yeah.
I just think the upside of Blake Swihart was more than Christian Vasquez.
Yes.
And I know that they have Christian Vasquez under contract for 3 years.
Right.
Which this I think is the 2nd year of the contract, which I'm sure had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But I just think the upside of Blake Swihart was much better. I get nervous, and we deal with this on our own baseball team, Operation Binky, where these pitchers need to have a certain catcher to be successful.
Right.
And these are major league players making $30 million a year.
Yeah.
You know, they should be able to throw anybody.
Any other professional catcher.
Right. And to ask, with the one caveat, that knuckleballer. You know,
sure. Yeah. Right.
And I forget, it was years ago.
When you had Tim Wakefield.
Tim Wakefield, and they brought the guy back from San Diego who they traded away.
Yeah.
And remember, there was police escort because nobody could catch him.
That's right.
I forget his name.
Oh, we'll have to get that. Yes.
But
they had took him from the airport.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Police escort to the game because nobody could catch Wakefield's knuckleball.
Yeah.
It was down to, and Wakefield didn't know.
Right.
He showed up right at game time. He was in the dugout with his mask on, and then he came out to the home plate, which was it was a cool scene. The name's on the tip of my tongue. But the other piece of this, and I know we only have a few minutes left, Pedroia.
Yeah.
I think.
So he heard a pop at his knee.
Yeah.
I mean, is he done?
I think he's done. I think he's done, and I think he was done before last year.
Yeah.
He tried, and it's just not there. He was batting 100 at the time.
Yeah.
So obviously he wasn't swinging the bat very well. You know, defensively he was getting to the balls that he needed to get to, and which was nice to see. And I love watching him play.
Sure.
You know, he's kind of like that every man's player.
Yeah.
You
right.
know,
yeah.
You could be 5'9".
It's like a working man.
You could be 5'9", 165 pounds and play in the
exactly.
major leagues.
He's balding, which I appreciate. So.
That's all that stuff. Looking his age.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's just, the game's not there anymore.
No.
And I think it's just evidence of a guy that played his heart out for 12 years.
Yeah.
The amount of 12 years. Got banged up, played every out, played every inning that he could. Dove after every ball that he could.
His body's just given up.
And that was it.
Yeah.
You know, that was it.
He gave everything.
And they're gonna raise his number.
Sure.
At Fenway. I mean, he's an MVP, a 3-time World Series champ, and a Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good pedigree. There's only, besides Ortiz, I don't know of any other Red Sox that have that kind of pedigree.
Yeah.
And so they're going to raise it, and they're going to be celebrated. And I think it's time for him to say, okay, enough's enough. I'm going to, get away from this. And then, in a few years from now, we'll have a Dustin Pedroia bobblehead day, and then we'll, everyone will be happy and forget about this. But he's just not there anymore.
Exactly.
So we talked about Leon. I think they need to win 2 out of 3. I'm going to go back with what I said last week, that 500 by the end of April should be what their goal is.
Right.
They're 7-13, so they need 6 wins.
Yeah.
They need to rattle off some wins in a row. Yeah. Have they had anything more than 1 win in a row?
No.
I don't think so.
No, they need to. They need to get a streak going.
Yeah, and
starting one against Tampa would be perfect.
Right, and so that could get them going a little bit. Betts hit a home run last night.
Yeah,
which was nice to see. I think Moreland hit another.
Moreland, they went back to back.
Yeah, so Moreland certainly has been the offensive surprise for them. Did you see Mookie Betts' excitement though? I mean, he felt like that monkey was off his back. Like he felt like, yeah, I'm back. He was pretty pumped at hitting a home run. I mean, it looked like he had just won, a World Series Game 7. But that was exciting, and you had talked about he's pointing fingers at himself, saying I'm not playing the way I'm supposed to be playing, and I think hopefully that he's going to turn the corner with that. There's a lot of pressure on the Red Sox. They're the defending champion. They didn't make many changes to their team, and they have the highest payroll in the league, or second highest, behind the Dodgers. And when those teams have the highest payroll, I remember when the Yankees had the highest payroll and Baltimore had the highest payroll for a little while.
Right.
Those other teams that play them play extra hard because they want to beat the teams that have the money. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's a lot of pressure on the Sox, but they have to overcome it. That's the deal with playing in Boston. You got to overcome these things.
I agree.
All right, Charlie, we got some other stuff we want to talk about.
Definitely. I just wanted to mention once again the Kingswood football program. We have a football golf outing, which we would love for you guys to attend, June 22nd at the Indian Mound Golf Course in Ossipee, New Hampshire. We're looking for players. If you'd like to sponsor a hole, if you'd like to volunteer to help, please let me know. That's Charlie Hossack or Mary DeMacy know. We'd love for you to come out and join us. I did want to show off a few of the silent auction items that you might be interested in. I've got a few autographed pictures here. We have... We talked a little bit, mentioned Tim Thomas, but the former goaltender of the Boston Bruins, Tim Thomas, is an autographed photo. Another Bruins player, Tim Shaler. He was a forward for the Bruins, as autographed. Check out this one. I wish it were Tom Brady, but it's actually Dave Andrews. But you do see Tom Brady in the photo. So Dave Andrews is the center. We have James Devlin from the Patriots, fullback.
One of the few fullbacks in the end.
I know, I have the true fullback. Look at him again. That's a real fullback right there. All right, and we have Antoine Smith, former running back way back in the day. And, of course, we have Mr. Trey Flowers. So these are just some of the silent auction items.
Super Bowl champions there. Trey Flowers won a couple.
Actually, look at that. Check that out.
Antoine Smith won 2. In 01 and 03, I think he was the running back there. Brady is obviously there. Andrews has 3.
He's got 3. Yeah,
he's got 3. Was he the one? Was he there against Seattle? Was it Andrews or was it Stork?
No, he had Stork.
It was Stork against Seattle. So Andrews got 2.
Yeah. You got some good stuff. Yeah. So, well, anyway, we want you. We would love for you, and we want you to participate in the golf outing on June 22nd to sponsor the Kingswood football program.
So next week, Charlie, we mentioned earlier that we're going to be broadcasting from the varsity baseball game.
Oh, it's going to be
Friday.
Awesome.
Yep.
Can't wait.
So our first event.
We're going to be outside. I'm hoping for good weather.
On location.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. Oh, yeah, hopefully it's not going to be raining because it's raining today. We got canceled today.
Sure.
So.
Yep, absolutely.
But I guess that's about it. Anything else, Charlie?
I don't have any. Actually, one thing I do want to mention next week, I think just for fun, I want to start bringing up the San Diego Padres because they're actually winning, and and we had talked about Machado and all that. So we'll just kind of give a 15-second update because I find it actually humorous.
Are we Machado fans? We're not Machado fans.
We're not Machado fans.
So I want to make sure. I just want to know the tone that we're going to
No, we're not Machado fans, but the fact that the Padres are finally winning is humorous to me.
All right, very good. I guess that's it for us on Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. Thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next week.
Go Knights.
Go Knights.